Hey everybody, it's the Mad Master here. I'm just doing a second video today. And this is about kind of a sequel to my some of my recent videos about the narratives that are crumbling right now. Now, if you know me, I think that I'm more of a moderate about the current narratives than people really understand. And the reason why I kind of in a certain way I entertain the more you know, right-wing narrative with regards to the current crisis and stuff is because it's been so censored, so hated upon, and it's kind of like some of these YouTube people that are talking about, like, they hate censorship, so they kind of push that Overton window to that side. And I guess I also, from a relative that told me the other day, he's like, yeah, I'm not extreme about this. I don't believe that the eat the bugs live in the pod thing is going to happen necessarily, but why can't we ask questions? And yeah, that's I know I used to debate people about why can't we ask questions? Let me tell you though, like, one of the first things that came out of 9/11 was the site Unanswered Questions, and then the 9/11 timeline. And that led to the 9/11 Commission because I'm looking at the book, Paul Thompson of Stanford University did this book, or did this timeline, this book, and he did this documentary called Press for Truth, 9/11 Press for Truth. I believe that was what it was called. And they asked questions because these wives of these people that died in the towers, or the firefighters or the police that handled that, they wanted answers from the government. And so they did that, and that led to the 9/11 Commission, which was not a satisfactory conclusion, obviously. So when people talk about asking questions, I don't think it's because we're unscientific or, want to, we just want accountability and, some type of, like, transparency. And I've realized that this is the most bothersome thing about this whole thing, because it's like you have a bunch of public health officials that are unelected that are making decisions for the population without any input. Like here in this town, the city council did vote for a mask mandate last year. So there was a little bit of accountability, but now they're just pushing it. They had no say in the last, like, 10 times they extended it, but initially they did, right? So that's fine. But when a population is ruled by bureaucrats that are unelected, it's very problematic, and it doesn't matter what you're living through. It's like people just want to look to these people and think of them as their saints or their gods, whether it be Trump or whether it be Fauci. So that's what really bothers me. But the narratives are starting to crumble, and I've noticed this. Now, I don't know how, and this at least part of the narratives, right? Because these zero CV people on Twitter that have been ordering food. I mean, Jimmy Dore did a video about some of these people. It was like the people that weren't celebrating Christmas or going to be alone, quarantining on Christmas and stuff. And, like, some of these people that haven't been to a restaurant in 2 years, or haven't seen anybody else, or, maybe one or two people, like some of these Twitter people that are probably pretty affluent for them to be able to live that lifestyle. Like I've said, I think there's a big class element to this whole thing that really is problematic and has bothered me the whole time. So that narrative that you will be spared from the spread, at least that part of it, okay, that's done. Cases, I have a case, and even the cat dog cat is changing their stuff about that too in response to that, which is actually probably good. And then people, a lot of liberals or leftists are like, oh my god, the cat dog cat wants to kill us now because of the Decepticon variant is, who knows what may happen, even though all the information coming out of South Africa so far and other places say it's pretty mild. So these narratives are really poetic justice for a lot of us that have been questioning narratives for the almost 2 years that this has happened, because the crumbling of these people's ego with regards to them escaping these evil, diseased people, Trump supporter people, or whatever that they believe people are, the people that haven't had the 5 Wi-Fi booster shots, these people are getting owned because they're getting sick. And, I don't think they're getting super sick, and it seems like a lot of them, a lot of people are triple jabba dabba dude or more. Sometimes they're getting this. And it's like, well, it kind of fails. It makes the narrative fail that you have to, and especially if it is true that this is less severe for even people that haven't had anything done to them as far as the needle. So it kind of kills a lot of that, and it's kind of just fun. It's fun to see because it feels really bad, because I just want this fucking thing to be over, right? I'm so sick of it. But it is fun to see, in a certain way, these people that were shaming people for doing things and catching it, oh my God, he caught it. Oh, he's a Trump. He went to these anti-mask rallies, and he died. He was 60 years old. And he died, a couple months later in the hospital. He got it. He caught it. He caught the case. Of course, obviously there's a lot of things. And then they're just trying to backwards rationalize, well, I'm glad I had 5 boosts. It would have been worse. There's not really right now, it's kind of tentative as far as if that's true or not, because of a lot of the stuff that's come out from South Africa and elsewhere. And the Delta Airlines is still affecting things too, the Delta Airlines variant. So, that's still going to be a factor for now, as far as how I see it. So, for a while, that's going to be, but it's going to take over. This other one, this Decepticon one, is going to take over, and the Autobots, the blue check mark, smug Autobot neoliberals on Twitter will be owned. So, yeah, I do like seeing this, because it's like one of the things about last year that made me feel a little bit better about what was going on is everybody was equal. We all were in this together. Now, that doesn't mean that I, believed in the guidelines or the power of the government or corporations that they took. They usurped a lot of this power and got a lot of wealth from this whole thing. I don't believe in that part of it. But I also thought that, we all have to do this stuff. It's, all equal. But once this, divide happened where, oh, you're just a piece of shit because you haven't shot yourself up 5 times with this shit, it's like that made me feel worse about things, because I fucking did everything. Well, I was 50% doing stuff that they said to do. I was not, and in a way, I didn't really follow the guidelines as much as I legally could, because I did do some illegal things as far as the mandates, because I gathered with people, didn't wear a mask with other people in my house or in people's houses. I was with people, but I thought I had it really in January of 2020 anyways. So it's just really funny to see this comeuppance in a certain way. And I hope it continues to happen. But on other news, the Dr. Anthony F. the other day was on CNN talking about with versus from. And I was just like, and this is I'm going to have to watch the full clip as far as cases of children in the hospital, cases. And that was really weird to see, because that's been a right-wing trope and conspiracy theory for, going on 2 years. People dying with the CV or from, it's so it's kind of funny to see him admit to this in this kind of sort of loosely related way with cases and stuff. So it's just really weird to see all these narratives crumble and just totally twist around, and I never thought I'd see it. I never thought, Biden administration would do what they're doing too, as far as talking about the states and stuff. And, I don't know what's going to happen with that mandate and stuff and the OSHA thing. Hopefully rationality and sanity prevail, and that to me that's not having the mandate. But I think businesses can do it if they want to, but it's like having that as a rule, arbitrary rule, especially for, what if you have 99 employees? It's like, well, if you got one you have to test every week. It's like, it's just, some of these things just don't make a lot of sense and I think a lot of this is done just like it is to scare people to take the shot, honestly. Like a lot of the stuff from last summer, they said they would do this or do that. Like I think they said they would do, I don't know if they would, not the redefining of fully, what, but some of the other stuff they were talking about, they were scaring people to do it, and I don't know if this whole thing's going to do that. But, I don't think you can expect a population to get jabbed every fucking 3 months. I mean, that is impossibly unrealistic, even though half the people I know had the boost. But it's too bad that I've had such a, I mean, I might seem like a anti-V, but I'm not. I looked at the studies, T cells and B cells, I looked at what is supposed, what's going to happen as far as me goes. I mean, and just looking into the research, I just didn't think it was necessary. I just don't think it's necessary. I don't want to give them more power than I already have. I've given these people power for 2 years. I took the damn thing. I wore a mask at Trader Joe's. I fucking, I locked down for a month in May, April/May. And I've done a lot of what they told me to do, and I just can't give them any more. I can't, I don't, it feels false. It just doesn't feel like me if I give them any more power than they've already gotten from me. And you can say, oh, you're a terrible person, well, you don't care. Well, the cat's out of the bag. Everybody's fucking getting this. So it's like, are we going to really be like blaming each other and, hating upon each other? I did what I did. I'm probably better than your average like MAGA person that goes to like a huge gathering, and says, I don't believe in the virus, or something like that. To these liberals, they probably think, oh, at least he doesn't do that. At least you're not like my ex-boyfriend. He was a heroin addict. I hate that kind of comparison shit. But yeah, it's like, I don't know. It just pisses me off, and I don't know what's gonna happen, as a result of all this. Do I think that there's some truth to the whole like narrative that the eat the bugs live in the pod Schwab thing? Like, do I believe that's part of the thing? Yeah, absolutely. I don't, as far as how much of a factor that plays, that I don't know. I think there's enough people that one thing is I don't think they understand people. I don't think these people understand how humans operate. Just like in the Vietnam War, where you had McNamara. I've talked about this before many times. He's just like, he reads all the stats and stuff. He's like, oh, we send the troop levels. It's like case levels and someone else in power doing that stuff. And they underestimate humanity. These people, these technocrats, they don't understand the human. And spiritually, if you want to look at the spiritual side too, it's like, I think that all this like stuff is like Matt McKinley talks about this. It's like, it's a very the AI, the virtual reality, the whole thing, the Ready Player One thing. It's deeply unspiritual, and it's gonna be seen that way by many people. I don't think people will all be hooked up to the machine. I think there will be a number of people that are not, and I don't think it's as simple as like you hook it up or you don't. It's like cyberpunk. It's like some people you hook up part of the time, some of the time. It's like there's rebels, there's mavericks, there's different things. Humans are going to human no matter what. It's just like viruses are going to virus. Alex Berenson, 2020. That's all.